Hello everybody. So today I'm going to show you how to use the validation controls in ASP.NET Web Forms. So I have already created a web form project, and to save time I have added some code to it. So I'll go through it in a short while and show you how to use these validation controls and how to manipulate it for your benefit. And then there is also some other videos I have created on ASP.NET Web Forms. So it will be very good if you are a beginner. It will be very good for you to go through those videos. I'll provide the links to those videos in the description. So once you go through those videos, then you come back to this video and understand the validation controls. If you are already aware of ASP.NET Web Form, then you can go through this video and understand it. Okay, so here I have already created a contact form. Okay, as you can see, so by default, so you will find this kind of home page, okay, and some default code and template in ASP.NET. So if you go to contact, what I have done is I have removed the default code and I have added some custom code here, so which has created a form like this. Okay, name, email, re-enter email, age, all these things. So in the background, so I have some code for this. So the HTML code will look something like this. Okay, so what I have done is so within the body you can see some div classes which will basically allow you to arrange your controls. You can use the same structure as I have used here, and I have added a label text box. Now this label has a text called as name, then the corresponding text box which is where the user can enter some details, right? So this is the first one. So this is the code for this is these two lines, right? Now ignore rest of the things. We'll come to those things later, but let's first go through the basic controls which are displayed on the web form. So these are the two things. Then come back here, so you can see a few more lines of code. So this is the label for this, yeah, label control, and then you have the text box control here. So label control is again for the email text, and then text box control is to enter an email. So the control corresponding to that is this one. Okay, then let's go to the third control, which is the label again, and then the text box, which is the enter your re-enter your email, right? So that is the third one, which is this one, re-enter. Similarly, I have for age, subject, and for the message box. Okay, so these are the things which this is the code which I have written for this. Now what you need to do is that in order to validate it, now once all this HTML code is added, you can refresh the page and you will see this kind of form getting created, right? So let me pause here so that you can look at the code. So this is the code, and so this is the code for the age text box, and similarly for again subject, and this for the message, the last one. Okay, so this is the standard code. Now the controls are there, but we want to validate it, right? So there are different ways to validate it. So there are built-in controls in ASP.NET which we can use to validate this. So for example, name, let's say name is mandatory, we can add a control to check if the user has entered name or not. This is called as a required field validator control. This is the first one. Now second control, validation control, is the compare validator control, which will compare two things. So here let's say the email and re-enter email, right? So I want to compare if the email is same or not. Then it will compare both these things. So that is the compare validator. Then the third validator I have used is the range validator, which will allow the user to only enter some let's say number within a particular range. Okay, so for that I have used a age text here. I am asking user to enter the age. The age should be between a certain number, like between 18 to 130 or something, okay, or 100. So you can give that range, whatever range you want, you can give that, and then it will validate if the number entered by the user falls in that range or not. Then there is subject. now there is no validation control for this. This is just a text box. For message, again, it is a mandatory control, and if the user doesn't enter it, then you will see an error. Now let's go back to the HTML text here. So here you can see I have added some validation controls. So the first one is a custom validator, which we will discuss in the end. Now these are the 4 controls, right? So required field validator, regular. So yeah, I didn't spoke about the regular expression. So there is another validation control called as regular expression validation control, which will check if the something is in a particular format. So in a particular format, like email should be in a particular format. Okay, so these 4 are the primary validation controls. So let me repeat again. So one is the mandatory field validation control. Second is like a regular expression validation control. Then you also have the compare validation control to compare two controls. Then you have the range validation control to ensure something is within the range. So these are the 4 basic controls. Apart from this, 2 more are there. One is a validation summary control, which will allow you to display everything, all the errors in a summarized way, right? So we can say on top of the page we want to see a summary of the errors, or in the bottom of the page, then we can do that using the validation summary control. Then there is another control which is called as a custom validator control, which allows us to write custom code. Suppose we don't want to use the default code provided by .NET, rather we want to write some code in the ourselves, then we can also do that. So that is where this custom validation control is used. Now these controls can be used in 2 ways. One is we can say use the client side validation, another is use the server side validation. So client side validation, it means the ASP.NET will generate some JavaScript code to do the validation in the client side itself, so on the browser. Another is the server side validation, which will happen on the server side. So default ASP.NET will take care of the validation and all the logic around it, but there will be a round trip behind the scenes, which you will not be able to see, but it will go to the server and do the validation there and come back. Okay, so that is how you can set the way you want to do the validation control. And then let's come back here. Now here let's go to the required field validator control, validation control first. So it is called as required field validator, and you can see run at equal to server here. Okay, and because it is server control, but you can specify it to run on the client side. Okay, so enable client side script equal to true, then it will run on the client side. So let's not do it. Let's run it on the server side. So here I have the error message is the important one. The rest of the things are default, but the error message and this control to validate are the 2 important things here. So what error message you want to display and which control you want to validate, so that ID should be here. So in this case I want to validate this txt name control, so I have given this name here. Okay, so it will validate this control. So it doesn't matter where you specify this, so you can put it in the end of the page, at the end of the page, at the beginning of the page. Okay, wherever you want, you can put it, but the message will be displayed in that particular place wherever this control is. So in this case it will be displayed just below this text box, because that is where it is placed. Okay, and then color is red. I want it to be red color, so you can give different colors if you want. So that is what about this control, right? So let's now try to run and see what happens if I click on this submit button. So this submit button, now again coming back to the submit button, so you have to write this code here which will create the submit button on your page. Okay, so it is simple code, but then it has a on click attribute which is calling this method. This method is on the C# side, which is on the server side. So if you go to the corresponding C# class of this page, you can see I have added this method here. So you need to add the method similar to what I have shown here. Okay, one easy way to add any events is, now this is for the beginners. If you don't know anything about this, an easy way to add the methods is go to the design window, and then in the design window just double click this. Okay, so if you double click this, it will create the event for you by default. So that is one way of to add the events easily instead of typing it yourself. Now here also in the design window, you can see the placing of all the controls, right? So you can arrange it. If you want to change some code, you can arrange it as per your convenience or as per the design of the page. Now the required field validator control here, so it will so what we can do, like let's say we now go back to our form and say, let's say submit, right? So you can see here the name is mandatory, so that error is coming up here because I have not entered anything. So if I enter something and hit tab, so the message is going away, right? So it is again validating based on when I move the control focus out of this control, and then it is finding that something is entered, so it is removing that error message. So this is how your required field validator control works. Now let's go back to the regular expression. So I have set a regular expression validation control here. So what this will do is so it will check this email field and check whether a valid email ID is entered or not. So the regular expression used for email, this is a very popular one. So this is what is used here. So you can use the same regular expression and then it will validate this email control. So if let's say I enter something in this format, then it will throw an error message, right? So now this error message is something which is so I have not removed this code, that's why it is coming up like this. But you can now here so the error message here is enter a valid email. So if I enter something here, let's say something invalid and move out, then you can see error message enter a valid email. You can also see another error message email do not match, which is because of the compare validator control. So let's now go back to that. So you can see I have also added a compare validator control. Now here again I have said that control to validate this txt email, so it will compare this this thing, and to control to compare is this, so it will compare this control text box here with this email text box here. So both these text boxes will be compared. Okay, so this is how you have to give the values, and if there is a mismatch, then it will throw an error. So since I have so since it is an invalid email, so it will throw an error here because it is invalid. So now we let's say I enter a valid email format, then this error is going away, but this error is still there, right? So if I copy paste it here, then this error is also going away. So because now it is finding both are same. So this is the compare field validator. Now let's go back to our range validator. So in the range, what I have provided here is a minimum value and a maximum value. Maximum value is 130, minimum value is 18. Okay, so this is just for example purpose. Now you can give any value whatever you want, but this is how this range validation minimum and maximum range is set. Okay, rest of the things are whatever we have seen in the other controls, the same, like error message and control to validate, but this is the these two properties are different, right? So here type is integer, so which means you have to enter a number. So let's go back here. If you enter a character, then apart from a number, then it will also fail, so it will throw an error. So let's enter a character and move out, and it is saying enter a valid age, right? Now let's enter a valid number, for example 19. The error message is going away. If I enter age less than 18, again the error message is coming back. If I again enter a valid age, the error message is going away. If I enter something more than 130, let's say 145, again the error message is back. So it means this validation is working as per the instructions provided here, right? So that is the range validator. Now there is no validation for this. I have just kept it as it is, simple, this thing. Now there is also a validation control on this box here. So let's remove this 130 and this will work. Now let's not enter anything, and then you can see message is mandatory, that error is coming back, okay, because I have not entered anything here. Now if I enter something here, again this error will go back. However, you can see there is a summary of errors getting displayed in the bottom, right? So this is because of this validation summary control. So it is simple control. What you have to do is just create this control like this, and it will automatically go through all the validation controls, and whatever text you have provided, it will summarize everything and show at this particular position wherever this control is placed. So it will show all the text here. Okay, so for example, now this if we remove this, you can see that these two errors are summarizing these two messages and showing it here. Okay, now let's do this and then click on submit. You can see that the enter a validation error is also coming up. So this will only fire when you hit the submit button, right? So all other controls are getting invoked when you are moving out of that, when we are moving the focus outside of that control. But here this fires when you hit the submit button. You can also hide this if you don't want this. So you can set the display property of the validation controls, and you will not see these error messages. Rather, you will see the only the summary messages when the user clicks on this submit. So that also is possible. So let's do it for one of the controls here. So which is the required field validator, and I will say display equal to none. Okay, so edit code and then refresh this, right? So now it is I am not entering anything here, and I will just go here and click on submit button. You can see that only so this error message displayed here is now gone. Only the error message is displayed in the summary, okay, not here. So we can also remove this error message if we want. So again, do the same thing, go back here and again display property, display equal to none, and then yes, edit code and refresh this. Okay, let's hit the submit button again, and now you can see all the error messages displayed below these controls are gone. Only the summary control error messages are coming up here. So that is how you can play around it. Now the last validation control is the custom validator control. So the custom validator control, I have again provided it for as an example for the first text box. So the interesting thing here is this on server validate. So you have to give a method name here which should match with your C# method name. So the C# method can be you can write it here in your in the code behind this particular page. So here you can write this in this format, right? And then in the args you will get the control reference, and then you can use it to check what is the value that is entered in the control, which is in this case a text box. If it is less than 2, I am saying throw an error, right? So this is the custom validation control. So let's again go back here and see if this is working or not. So let's enter something which is let's say less than 2 characters, and then hit the submit button, but it will not go because there is a error here. So let's add something, and then you can see name should have at least 2 characters. Now this validation control got invoked. Now this is because of this message that we have provided here in the custom validation control. Okay, so this is the message that is coming up here. So if you put a breakpoint here, so you will see that this breakpoint will get invoked. So if I enter again, let's say single character, and then click on submit button, so let's enter something here and click on submit button again, and then you can see this breakpoint has stopped here. Press F10 and this will go here inside because it is less than 2 characters, and then it will return back to the control, the error. So the error will be displayed based on the message that we have provided in the control. So so this message is getting displayed. So if I enter a bigger number and then enter again submit, so it will again go back here, and this time it will not go inside because the length is 8, right? So which is, so this condition is not getting satisfied, so it is not moving inside the if statement, so it is going out. So in that case the error will not be displayed. So now there is no error. So that is how the custom validation control is used. I hope you have understood the concept of validation controls. So again, go through all the tutorials which I have created on ASP.NET Web Forms. The next tutorial will be on the how to save this information in the database. So I will shortly come up with a video to show you how to save this information in the database and how to show a thank you page when the user submits this data. Okay, hopefully this video has been helpful to you. So please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel so that you can get a notification whenever I post new videos. Thanks a lot.